In this video, we will be diving into scatterplots using Seaborn. We are using the automobile dataset as mentioned in the introductory video of Seaborn. Scatterplot is one of the technique of bivariate analysis, where we try to find out the relationship between two variables, with the condition that both the variables or both the features are numerical in nature. So let's start with visualization. So in order to plot a scatterplot, we have to use the scatterplot method. So let me just first start with I'm using plt.figure, and then I'm going to mention the fixed size. With the help of this, you can adjust your settings of your x-axis and y-axis. Then the next step is I'm going to use SNS, which is the Seaborn library dot scatterplot. Then we have x value. So let's put x is equal to scatterplot. Sorry, x is equal to engine size, then comma, then y value will be equal to wheelbase. Here, both x value and y value, which is engine size and wheelbase, are numerical in nature. Then we have the data. So the data frame is the auto data frame. Auto data frame. Now the next step is to do plt dot show. Now we are going to run this. This is the scatter plot looks like. Okay, so we can see here on the x-axis we have the engine size, and on the y-axis we have the wheelbase. So it's showing the relationship between the wheelbase and the engine size. We can clearly see that as the value of the engine size increases, the wheelbase is also increases. You can see a kind of a linear uh, relationship, which is, we can say, a kind of a positive correlation between wheelbase and the engine size. So this is how we can draw a simple scatter plot. Please remember, scatter plot is only used when both the features are numerical in nature. Here, engine size and wheelbase both are numerical in nature. Now, we can modify our scatter plot in a different ways. The first way is we can change the color of the data point. Now, by default, we can see it is we can say a kind of a blue color. If we want to change the color of this to something called as red, then we can change it by using the color parameter inside the method. So I am going to copy this whole code, Control C, Control V, and then I am going to add one more parameter here, and that is color. Color equal to, I'm going to use this value of color code of red. Put it like this. Now I'm going to execute this. So now we can see we have got our scatter point data points in the form of a red color, So by using this color parameter, we can change the color of the data points in the scatter plot. The next thing is, like, we can also use the marker parameter. So by default, the shape of these scatter plots are in a circular nature. So if you want to have a different kind of a shape of this points, so then we can use the marker parameter for that. So again, I'm going to use the same command, Control C, Control V, and I'm going to add the marker equal to, and then here I'm going to give the shape like this is my shape, and then I'm going to run this. So after running this, you can see here that the shape has been no longer in the circular shape. It is in the form of the shape which is being specified in the marker parameter. So basically, with the help of the marker parameter, we can change the shape of the scatter points. The important point is the use of hue. So with the help of the hue, we can do a kind of a color encoding, and we can also tells us like what is the relationship between wheelbase and engine size with respect to a particular other feature which is being mentioned as a hue. This will become much more clear when I'm going to use the code. So I'm going to use the same code as scatterplot, but I'm going to use the data point. Okay, so I'm going to use a new parameter called as hue. So hue is equal to fuel type. So now when I run this, it's going to give me, 1 second, it's TF, and then I'm going to run this code. You can see here. We got the relationship between wheelbase and engine size, but with respect to fuel type is equal to gas and diesel. So there's one more feature, categorical feature, fuel type. So by specifying the fuel type in hue, we are trying to find it out how many data points. Okay, it's showing the relationship between wheel size and engine size and wheelbase, but with respect to the fuel type. So blue points are denoting the gas, fuel type gas, and this point, the orange points are depicting as a diesel. Okay, so with respect to the fuel type, we can, or you can say it's a kind of a legend. So with the help of this fuel type, we can do a kind of a color encoding, and we can derive we can do a kind of a multivariate analysis, like relationship between wheelbase and engine size with respect to the different values of the fuel type. The other important thing is how we can set the x limit. So for setting up the x limit or y limit, we have to use the plt.x limit or plt.y limit. I'm going to show you about plt.x limit. You have to do it yourself for plt.y limit. So let me use the same code. Everything is same, only few lines are being added here and there. Okay, so you can see here plt.x limit. I have used this method. Okay, 50 underscore 200. So with the help of this, what's going to happen? It's going to limit the size of the x limit from 50 to 200. So you can see here it's limiting to 50 to 200. In the earlier graph, there was no limit, so it was going beyond 300 and above. But here we have specified it's up to 50 to 200. Now, other way is like how we can show two different grouping variables using hue and style parameter. So we have seen hue. Now we are going to use the style parameter along with hue. So let's see. So what we are going to do here is we are going to use the same code, but we are going to add the style parameter. So in the style parameter, we have given the number of cylinders. Now when we are going to execute this code, so we are going to get it like this. So earlier as a hue, the gas and diesel was there, but now we have number of cylinders also, which is also one of the feature. So here we can have 4, 6, these are the different values of number of cylinders, which are denoted in different shapes. So we can understand, like, let's say this point, this data point. So this data point is orange in color. You can see here. So which means that this data point represents the fuel type is equal to diesel. Okay. And fuel type is diesel, and it has a number of cylinders is equal to 6. So this way we can find out the different relationship between wheels base and engine size with respect to one or more parameter. So if you want to use to find out the relationship between wheel base and engine size with respect to another parameter, we can simply use hue. But if you want to find out the relationship with respect to multiple features, then we have to use hue, as well as we can use style also. So this one we can get the different relationship. The other way is we can also use hue along with the size parameter. Now let me do the same thing, show you the code. Everything is same. We are using the same x and y value. Now here in the size, we are using the CTMPG. Now we are going to run, and we have defined the size of the CTMPG, like it should range between 20 to 200. Now I'm going to run this code, so we can see uh, that fuel type is there because it's been mentioned in the hue. And on the x-axis, we have the engine size, y-axis, we have the wheelbase, and then we have the CTMPG. So you can see here, smaller the dot sign, which is representing a smaller city mileage. The larger the size, it's representing the greater the city mileage. So this way, we can use the size parameter also to denote the relationship. Now we can see here this big circle, which means that this data point is referring to um, a car which has something around engine size around 60 and wheelbase around 70, but it has a very good city mileage of 48, around 48. So this way we can find out the relationship between different features, and we can use and modify the scatter plots. So that's it. By following these simple steps, we were able to create a scatter plot using Seaborn. And as I've already mentioned, scatter plots are great for visualizing the relationship between two numerical variables. Feel free to experiment with different styles, colors, and markers to customize your scatter plot further. We can also add regression lines or hue to represent additional variables. So as we have already seen here that we have used hues to represent the additional variables. So yeah, I hope you like this video. Thanks everyone.